Hi there. My name is Dr. Alexandra Owens, and I'm an assistant professor of education at McKendree University. Today I'm going to show you how to administer and score the CORE Phonics Survey, which can be found in the text Assessing Reading Multiple Measures. The CORE Phonics Survey assesses the phonics and phonics-related skills that have a high rate of application in beginning reading. Each survey has two sections: alphabet skills and letter sounds, and reading and decoding skills. The sections are further divided into parts. Some of the parts contain lines of real words and pseudo words for the student to decode. Pseudo words or made-up words are included since the student must use decoding skills to correctly pronounce these words and cannot have memorized them. A student's ability to use knowledge of sound-spelling correspondences, phonics, to decode words determines in large measure his or her ability to read individual words. A detailed assessment of a student's phonics skills points to areas in which the student is likely to benefit from systematic explicit phonics instruction. Also, knowing the skills that the student does possess will help in selecting reading tasks that offer the most effective reinforcement of those skills. Directions for administering each part of the survey are included on the teacher record form. Students will read from the student material. To focus the student's attention on the parts of the test being given, cover the other parts. Following administration, score each test part and transfer the results to the skill summary section on the first page of the teacher record form. Retest parts of the survey not yet mastered using information on types and frequency of effective assessment systems, assessment sequence for primary grade students, assessment sequence for upper grade students, or your school or district assessment plan. Pay attention to the student's behavior during testing. If the student is tiring or making many consecutive errors, discontinue testing at that time. Use the following guidelines to determine when and what parts of the CORE Phonics Survey to administer at each grade level. This can be found on page 42 of Assessing Reading Multiple Measures. Students who score at strategic or intensive levels will benefit from targeted and intensified instruction and extensive practice in letter recognition, phonics, and decoding indicated. An analysis of the individual errors can give more specific information about the phonetic elements that require instruction. Additionally, the CORE phoneme segmentation test or other tests of phonological awareness can be administered to isolate an underlying factor. Older struggling readers who score at the intensive level will need basic phonics instruction, possibly including instruction in phonological awareness and sound spelling correspondences. Students at all levels need repeated opportunities to develop automaticity through practice in reading words in isolation and an appropriately decodable text. Let's take a look at Part A. Say to the student, "Can you tell me the names of these letters?" If the student cannot name 3 or more consecutive letters, say to the student, "Look at all of these letters and tell me which ones you do know." If the letter name given is correct, do not mark the record form. If it is incorrect, write the letter name that the student gives above each letter. If no letter name is given, circle the letter. Part B. Say to the student, "Can you tell me the names of these letters?" If the student cannot name 3 or more consecutive letters, say, "Look at all of the letters and tell me which ones that you do know." If the letter name given is correct, do not mark the record form. If it is incorrect, write the letter name that the student gives above each letter. If no letter name is given, circle the letter. Part C. Say to the student, look at these letters. Can you tell me the sound each letter makes? Be sure to ask the student if he or she knows of another sound for the letters G and C. If the sound given is correct, do not mark the record form. If it is incorrect, write the sound that the student gives above each letter. If no sound is given, circle the letter. When the student cannot say the sound for 3 or more consecutive letters, say, look at all the letters and tell me which sounds you do know. Part D, vowel sounds. Ask the student, can you tell me the sounds for each letter? If the student names the letter, count it as the long vowel sound. Then ask, can you tell me another sound for the letter? The student should name the short vowel sound. On the first line, write the letter L if the student says the correct long vowel sound. On the second line, write the letter S if the student says the correct short vowel sound. If the vowel sound given is incorrect, write the sound the student gives above the corresponding vowel letter. Let's look at Part B, reading and decoding skills. Part E. For parts E through K, students must read both real and pseudo words. For real words, tell the students, I want you to read each line of words out loud. If the student cannot read 2 or more of the real words in each line, do not administer the line of pseudo words. Go to the next part of the assessment. Before asking the student to read the line of pseudo words, ask, now I want you to read along some made-up words. Do not try to make them sound like real words. When administering parts F through K as a screening or diagnostic measure, continue testing even if a student does not perform well on the previous part of the test. Continue this through parts E through K. Lastly, let's take a look at Part L, multisyllabic words. Say to the student, I want you to read aloud down the first column of words. Each of the real words in this column has 2 syllables. Point to the first column. If the student can read at least 5 out of 8 of the words in this column, point to the second column and say, now I want you to read aloud the next column of words. If the student can read at least 5 of the words in the second column, point to the third column and say, now I want you to read some made-up words. Do not try to make them sound like real words. The first syllable of podated and Romeu can either be open or closed, long or short vowel sound respectively. The second syllable of podated can either be a closed short vowel sound or a silent E long vowel sound syllable due to the rules of adding ED. I hope that you have found this video helpful in learning how to administer and score the CORE Phonics Survey.